smash the like button and subscribe.
Yeah, so I was saying that I don't like the idea of normalizing, something like being transgender as like okay, that's something we could do feasibly, like turn a person into a different gender. Like I know from my
Hold up.
perspective,
What's
I
wrong?
think
What's wrong with being trans?
what's wrong. I think what's wrong is the idea around it is more like to actually affirm someone's belief that they can become a different gender. I think that's kind of
Can I ask you a
harmful.
question? Are you Christian?
No.
Okay. Harmful based on what
I
standard?
think it's harmful because it's just not a fact of reality that you can change someone's gender. I think there's a lot of people
No
saying that
one's
you
necessarily
can
making a
do
claim that
XYZ.
we're. Let me clarify. We're not. No one's making a claim
Can I
that.
finish my point real quick?
Yeah, but you're misunderstanding what's going on when someone's trans. There's not a
Well,
claim that someone changes their
you
gender.
gotta let
That's
me explain
only.
that first.
Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna actually explain that. From my perspective on the outside looking in, I think that the idea around it is, even if you don't actually believe someone can change their gender or their I think that it's just about respecting someone and having compassion for that individual because that's how they see themselves. However, even though I want to be compassionate, I know that someone's brain may be, I don't know, like misaligned or maybe they got too much estrogen or whatever. No, there's no like consensus necessarily on what makes someone's trans or gay or straight yet, although there's kind of like talks about it. I think that the narrative that everyone else who isn't trans or even other trans people who are affirming someone's idea that they can
Is there a point that I
excuse
can
me,
engage in conversation, or am I just supposed to let you yap?
that's a bit rude. I'm not going to, yeah, that was a bit long-winded. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, like, I'm confused. You're essentially arguing that there's no basis for you to accept it, right? What's the reason for that?
Because you're slash ginger, they used to be interchangeable. Now people are making it like two different things. But okay, we'll talk about that on a separate point. But
That's
let's say
because you're talking
let's
about two separate terms. You're talking about how someone used a term in one circumstance and how they used it in a different circumstance. So you're equivocating between the usage of terms. You understand
well, I
that
won't.
a specific term, can have multiple meanings depending on the context.
Fair enough. That's true. So let's be. I'll try to say sex because I mean someone's biological makeup rather than the idea of gender. So yeah, part of what you are like your DNA determines your chromosomes, your cells, your bone density. If I dug you up in 500 years, we could do tests on your DNA.
Hold up. Can I just clarify to you? We're not making a claim specifically, right, about biology. We're making a claim that gender in this context is socially determined based on certain commitments towards, right, the particular norms associated
Mhm.
with the sex with an express purpose of identity.
Okay, so you say that, but the actual everyday interaction with people who express themselves as transgender is supposed to be affirming them as, whatever sex they choose to be. It's like people argue about the bathroom situation. Is like, okay, if you're saying what you're saying, if it's not necessarily about the biology, then why do we have to give a pass up? We're worried about biology.
If you want to talk about in the bathrooms, okay, then I'll ask you this question. Do you think that trans men should go into the women's restroom?
I don't.
Trans
Like,
men are biologically female.
oh, excuse me. Okay, I didn't understand what you're saying. Yeah, I think you should go into the bathroom your biology aligns with for sure.
So trans men who are masculine presenting should go into the women's restroom. Wouldn't that be harmful to them? Or wouldn't that be dangerous to them?
I think that there's nothing much. Well, I'm not gonna say there's nothing much more. I think the damage is kind of done because if you are so deluded that you're gonna change up your body through surgery and thinking
Well,
that's actually
wait. Do you think that
biological.
do you think everyone that gets surgery relating to their body and how it looks is delusional?
No, I'm not talking about that. Just specifically when you're talking about
Then why are you
changing,
associating it to be delusional?
because that would be like saying I'll change myself to a dolphin. I'll take the
What? No. What
hormones.
do you mean a dolphin? Dolphins are not. Are what? That's what are you talking about? Dolphin
You can't use
isn't
the
socially determined. It's biologically determined.
right and exactly. So it's and that's what I'm
We're
saying. You
not talking.
cannot.
No one's saying that there's a change of sex. What we're talking about specifically is referencing like the commitment that someone has right, to certain social and cultural norms that are associated with the sexes as a prescription of
Right.
identity. That's what
Why
we're
do we
referencing.
have to? Why are we attributing all those identity talking points to someone who does not biologically align with that? So what I'm saying is, okay, you're a man about almost about to complete your last surgery. You're
Adam,
about to
think
get your
description. Okay,
your phalloplasty.
hold up.
So
I'm just gonna let Eli speak. I don't think that Bobby's even like saying anything meaningful right now. But go ahead.
Hey man.
That's good.
Hey chat. And hello, Bobby. Yeah, I figured I'd come up since you're so interested in speaking about us. And since it seems to be driving, I don't know. I wasn't even here for the beginning of the conversation. Can't lie. I just woke up from a nap, and here's Bobby talking about trans people. Bobby, I'm a 32-year-old. I'm a trans guy. Pretty early on, I would say, in the medical transition process because, wow, for most of my life, I've been terrified to even tell anybody who I was. For this reason, right here. But anyways, yeah. So I've been on TLIT. What is it now? Today is week 11. I've got a mustache. I've got decent amount of hair growing in on my jaw. You can see from my profile, I've got a pretty short haircut. I've got all these features that people in society like to claim are masculine. And if I were to go into the women's bathroom, I would be promptly removed, especially right now. And not only that, there are like masculine cis women that have been removed violently from bathrooms. Like, this has been going on, and I don't know if you've seen it or if you ignore it when you do see it. But there was like a 17-year-old cisgender girl who was, I think it was like North Carolina, who was, I don't know how much I can even talk about because it's so brutal, but nearly unconscious by 3 cisgender men because they thought that she was a trans guy. And you want me and people like me to go into the women's bathroom. I ought to also say this because of you and people like you. People like me are losing our jobs. I've been in the military, active duty, for just about 13 years now. We weren't bothering you. You had no idea until suddenly now. Well, I just want you to know that trans people have existed for as long as human beings have. I'd love if you would respond to anything that I just said.
yeah. So first of all, yeah, I don't hate you. I don't hate trans people. I wish you the best. However,
You don't need to do any of that.
no, I'm not saying it because I need to. I'm saying it because that's how I genuinely feel. It's not coming from a place of hate. Where it's coming from is, for one, I think that when you when you allow, I can see this. Maybe you guys need like a third bathroom or something or whatever. But I'm just saying, when you allow someone to take an inch in this direction, you kind of give them like a mile. So okay, you go from women can be men, men can be women. What's next? I feel like it's a slippery slope.
Wait. I have a question. Given that there is quote unquote no third bathroom, right? Which bathroom should people go into?
I still think it's the one you're biologically supposed to use. I guess your anatomy, like convenience wise, your anatomy is gonna have to line up with it. But if you already got that,
Are you saying that we have genital checks at the front of the bathrooms?
no, that'd be absurd. I mean, there's no way to do it. See, I feel like you're kind of touching on the sort of the issue of this whole thing is like you're going to affirm someone to the point where you say, yes, get the surgery. Yes, I'll call you whatever, pronoun you want. And then now we have these problems. The reason why we have these problems is because there's like an imbalance. You think you're one thing, I see you as another. When I start to talk to you, I start thinking of you the way that you probably biologically are, because you can tell normally, almost all the time. I can tell. And then we get
I don't think so. You want to.
You might not be able to tell.
Wait,
I can tell.
Should we test that? Should we test that?
Wait, I do. Let me say one thing. I do want to respond to the military comment.
Can we test this real quick?
One thing at a time, man.
Yeah, I think I would rather respond to military things. I feel like this.
I know you would rather that, but maybe one thing at a time.
I feel like you're kind of being rude right now.
I have a question.
I don't care.
I have a question. Is he biologically male or female?
I'd have to talk to that person. I can tell by voice. I can tell by mannerisms. It's not always just in the looks. I can
You don't know.
Photoshop you.
You don't know.
It's again, I can't tell you, but just by
So
looking.
he can't tell.
I have
So
to,
he can't
I have
tell.
to meet you.
So now he can't tell. By the way, I just typed in man. I literally just typed in man.
But Parker, you're making it seem as though I made the claim that I can just look. I'm not saying that. I said that I can tell. That means there's a multitude.
Wait, you just said you
different
wait.
things.
You just said you can tell. I literally just typed in man. I asked which bathroom
Okay,
should he
I
go
said-
into, and you
I
were
said I
not
can tell,
sure.
but I didn't necessarily say that I can look and tell. I can tell a lot of things, but I have to use the rest of my five senses to be able to
Hey,
figure
Bobby.
it out.
The rest of your
Bobby, do
five
you think-
senses. What other your five senses do you have to use?
Right. Grace
Dude,
said interviews
you
before
can-
bathrooms.
You can hear, like I said, you can hear.
You
your
have to
voice.
smell. Do you have to
Like-
taste?
Like Eli, I can
Dude,
definitely tell
what do you
your
have to
voice
do?
sounds
Tell me
more
what
human.
other sense?
I'm telling you now. You're talking over me. I'm telling you, Eli, I can definitely tell your voice.
I
is more
don't
feminine.
care. Hey, Bobby.
I'm not saying.
Hey,
I'm
Bobby,
not saying it as an
Bobby,
insult. I'm not saying it as an
Bobby,
insult.
I don't care, but it is an insult. But listen here.
Okay,
listen.
I apologize
Bobby,
if you feel
because there's no
insulted. I'm not
reason for
trying
you to there's no reason for you to say that other than to try to prove the point that you're losing at right now.
I
Here's
don't
the
think
thing.
I'm losing. I think I'm
Hey,
surrounded by
Bobby.
people with the opposite opinion. I'm not being
Big boy.
allowed to speak
Big boy.
all the way.
Hey, big
That's
man.
why I wanted to pivot
Hey,
to the
hey,
military
hey,
question
hey,
because
hey.
it gets into semantics.
We're gonna get there. I brought it up. We're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoa.
So,
As Parker
and
is saying,
stop,
can we talk about
stop, slow down, take a deep breath for a second, drink some water.
it? Okay. Now you're doing a little too much.
I
Calm
don't
down.
care
Just.
because here, you know what we're talking about right now? My rights.
I'm talking about
Me
not
as-
your
right
rights.
now-
I'm
right
not
now
talking about
you
your
are-
rights. I'm talking
Bobby,
about.
while you sit in the comfort of your privileged ass home and talk on the internet about this, you get to hang up or you get to end and disconnect and then never have to worry about whether or not these particular things you're saying affect you because you're not trans. So I don't really care if I'm being too much or if you're getting upset, if you're getting in your emotion. I don't give a shit at all. But yeah, you wanted to talk about whether or not you can tell with me. I said specifically, I have been on T for 11. Today would be, I haven't even done my dose today, but 11 weeks. I'm going to continue to grow and change. You think trans people, we don't understand what we look like? You think we don't own mirrors? You think we don't hear our voices? You don't think I'm perfectly aware that I, could potentially not pass if I open my voice? Open my mouth and let people hear my voice. I'm fully aware of that. Trans people, I used this example, I think yesterday. There are people that are afraid of snakes, that are afraid of spiders and whatever, right? That they genuinely are afraid of them. But if they left them alone, they have nothing to be afraid of. Because if you haven't heard the phrase, they're more afraid of you than you're afraid of them. We're those snakes and spiders, man. I am not wanting any confrontation. I just want to go into the bathroom, piss, and leave. And I don't really get where that all is coming from. But you telling me that you can tell, it's not doing anything, dude. Because up until I started growing facial hair, up until I started getting called sir consistently in public, consistently by everybody, until that occurred, I wouldn't dare walk into a men's bathroom, and I sure as shit am not going into the woman's. So I would hold it, and I wouldn't pee at all in public, which is gross to ask of people. Go ahead and respond to that. We'll get to the military. I promise.
Well, I mean, for one, that sucks. You have to go through that. I'm sorry you have to, feel like that. However, I do want to touch back on that, but I guess I already asked about the military thing, so I'm gonna tackle that first, and then we'll go back. So I guess what I'm saying is as far as the military thing, right? So the reason why I don't necessarily support trans people in the military, I'm also a veteran of the military for 10 years.
That's awesome.
And also, you call me privileged. You don't really know anything about my life. That's kind of condescending. I'm not calling you privileged.
You're
'cause
privileged
I don't know you.
in your cisgender, you being cisgender.
Okay, but what? Okay, well,
You have privilege.
I'm half black. What if I'm a mulatto and people treat me differently because
Whoa,
of that?
I'm not.
So
there
we
are
can play the
different kinds
we
of
can
privilege,
no,
Bobby.
no. we can play the privilege game that doesn't get us
Wait,
anywhere.
wait,
That's
wait,
why
wait,
I'm
wait,
not
wait.
talking about that.
You're misunderstanding. You're misunderstanding.
I'm not
Intersectionality.
misunderstanding. I'm not misunderstanding at all.
Yeah. Hello.
Parker's
Transition.
having audio connection issues. Like, just
Okay,
think
I'll
of
hold
it.
it for a second.
Sorry.
You there, Parker?
I couldn't hear. Yeah. My mic
You
got
got
plugged.
us?
Yeah. I hear now.
Okay. Cool. So what I was saying is I actually witnessed how people going through that transition, so to speak. I guess I don't want to say last or whatever. Pretty much what happens to them once they do that. So essentially, we had a soldier in my unit. I mean, not that you would know him, but I just won't say names just because it's a general thing.
No, yeah,
But
you definitely shouldn't say names
right,
ever
for sure.
speaking about somebody else. And also, even just speaking about this person, you don't necessarily have their consent to be sharing their story in the first
Well, I
place.
can share the story because it's anonymous. So what I'm saying is, they started going through transitioning. They got their own bathrooms. Their strength level started to change. They weren't able to help us out a lot. I had a job. I was CBRN, and so technically we're light infantry, but also chemo, bio, nuclear, and radiological specialists. So we have a lot of physical aspects to our job. The military is physical in general. There's a standard we have to be at.
Are you trying to like mansplain the military to me right now, man?
Then in your view, I would be mansplaining to another man, so I don't think that works. That cancels out.
Yeah, like you are
Okay. So
able,
let's
women
go ahead
can
and move past that.
do you know that women can even mansplain? So like that, I don't understand what the me being a man has to do with that.
So, anyways, there's a lot of things that individual just wasn't able to do physically. I saw it take a toll on them, and then when
I have a question.
I was a
I have a question.
when
Do you think
I'd
this
like to
sounds
finish my
it sounds
point,
this
and then
person-
I promise I'll get to your question. I
You're-
just want to finish my point.
Okay.
No, I mute him.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to know because you're like backing yourself into a corner right now. Because in order to say that this person, who I'm assuming was on estrogen, because testosterone has the opposite effect, like I'm getting stronger and like I'm gaining bone density, I'm gaining muscle mass, and all the things that come along with testosterone, right? And so estrogen, and individuals that start out with higher levels of testosterone and they continue to take estrogen, typically, it sounds like you're talking about a trans woman. In order to sit here and say like all the things that you're saying, which okay, so somebody their strength decreased, their hand strength, like their grip and all that, like that's fine. There are male standards and female standards in the military, which for the civilians out there, that's what we call it in the military. You would have to concede that when like trans women in sports, right, don't have the advantage that everybody thinks that they have, because you would have to concede that estrogen actually works, does its job. Do you see where I'm going right now? Get it? I'm just gonna let you know that we can get there. We can talk about that, but I'm gonna hold you to that. And for everybody telling me to shut your bitch ass up, I won't be doing that. Bobby, can you respond to that, please?
When I saw that in the comment section, I actually originally thought that people were like saying they liked me.
I didn't know what it meant at all at first.
I didn't know what it meant. I thought people were saying that they liked me. I thought it was like a nice comment, and then I looked it up one day and I was like,
Yeah. Bobby, are you like having like a crash out behind the mute? Like, do you know that you're muted right now?
"Hello, is he gonna unmute?"
Oh, he said in comments, I know.
You can click the microphone in the bottom right. Okay, I might just kick him and go to the next person.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
he's
totally
gonna-
fine.
Oh, hello.
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
I couldn't unmute myself, man. You keep muting me.
you can click the button no matter what, even if I mute you. But Eliana, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $50 on YouTube super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Good some W's right now for Eliana in the comment section right now. Thank you so much.
So the person that I was referring to, like I was saying, significant difference in strength going through the surgeries and the hormones together definitely will decrease your strength because you have to recover. You can't just shock your body with chemicals and stuff and expect you to like gain strength, quote unquote. But even though you're going to gain strength with a little testosterone, I'm quite sure I'm probably still stronger than you. And that's not like a diss. I'm just I'm just saying I'm probably stronger than you.
Hey, buddy, even before
Uh,
testosterone, I ran circles around most of the cis guys around me.
that's fine. I'm still saying I'm probably still stronger than you. I'm stronger than that trans person. And also
Me.
on top of that, when we went into the field, we had to make all types of different like accommodations for that individual. Like the bathroom situation is one thing, then sleeping quarters was one thing, because what tent do you go to, male, female?
I'm sorry, Bobby. How strong you are, is that depending on like like whether or not you're a man? Because I'm not very strong, right? Does that mean that like I'm not a man?
You're probably stronger than most females.
Most
I
women.
might, I, right? Females, women, same thing. So what I'm saying is, see, this is the whole thing right here. You're saying no, but yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm calling it a delusion, because what I'm saying is scientifically accurate.
No,
What you're
it's
saying
not
is
because
ideologically accurate, but
Wait. What
ideologically
he's saying is
accurate doesn't.
scientifically accurate. You know what's kind of funny? He
What I'm
he
saying is
cares about
scientifically
being
accurate.
scientifically accurate until it means supporting Donald Trump, who literally believes the climate's going to start cooling and that science just doesn't know it yet.